Welcome back, everyone, to Backyard Bullshit, the one and only Nebraska show that bullshits about backyard topics. We are your hosts, Levi and Isaiah Kilowitz, aka the Kilowitz Brothers. And today's topic is education. But before we get into that topic, we got a few shout outs, and then we'll go into our weekly quick hits. Do you have $1 million question this week?
I do not have $1 million question.
Okay. Well, if our audience would actually put a question out there.
Who's your favorite Kelsey bro? Travis or Jason? There's your $1 million question. Yeah, you try to figure that one out.
I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, so I really like Travis, but Jason's like cool as shit though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, this week, our shout out goes to the great state of Nebraska for having badass volleyball teams. So, this week, the NCAA tournament kicks off, and all three Nebraska teams are in the NCAA tournament for the first time in history, as I know. Nebraska got the number 1 seed in their bracket. Creighton got the number 3 seed in their bracket, and Omaha is unranked in their bracket. Nebraska ends up playing Long Island at 7 p.m. on December 1st, which would be Friday, right? Yeah. And then Creighton plays Colgate at 6:30 on Friday, December 1st. And then Omaha versus, Kansas is actually ranked number 15th nationally, but they're ranked number 4 in the bracket. So I didn't really know how to put that down there. 7 p.m. on November 30th, which would be Thursday night. They're all being aired on ESPN. ESPN Plus, yep.
Plus. Gotta add the plus now.
So, since we're on the topic of Omaha, we have a family relative that plays for Omaha. Her name is Emily Huss. She's from Fairbury here. She would be the third cousin?
Let's see.
So it'd be grandma's brother.
Daughter, right? No.
So Grandma Nyla.
Yeah.
And
you're
Emily's
thinking way too hard now.
I know. I don't know. Well, let's just put it this way: is our Grandma Nyla and her grandpa would be brother and sister. They had another brother in that family besides Junior.
Yeah.
So
it'd be second, right? Because if they were brothers,
it'd be second cousin. Would be second cousins?
You would be first cousins between our parents and
okay, so yeah,
kids.
Okay, I know how to be second or third, and I was guessing third.
And if it's not down another generation, then we should be second.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we have gotta give a shout out to our own family member for making her very first NCAA tournament appearance. My second shout out goes out to Fred Hoiberg and the men's Husker basketball team. They got off to a 7-0 start. This is their I wouldn't say very first, but this is their first 7-0 start since 1992. So almost 30 years later, they're finally making a comeback. So they play Creighton, number 15 Creighton on December 3rd at 3 p.m. That's all I got for shout outs. Do you got any shout outs?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the NBA. Celtics are on top right now, and so are the Timberwolves.
So then we're moving into our next category or segment. Weekly recaps. You just said what? Celtics were on top?
Yeah, Celtics are on top of the Eastern Conference.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Chiefs beat the Raiders 31-17. They play the Packers on Sunday Night Football on NBC at 7:20, obviously. The Ravens beat the Chargers 20-10 on Sunday Night Football. They have a bye week this week, so they get a little bit of a rest before they go into the rest of their season. Nebraska unfortunately lost to Iowa 13-10 on Black Friday. Kind of heartbreaking because I was hoping we could go 6-6 and make a bowl game, but at the same time, it's probably better to not have a bowl game your very first year, because then the expectations are a lot higher come second year if you're able to do that. So Iowa ends up playing Michigan for the Big Ten Championship this Saturday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. on Fox. I believe that could be a slaughter, but that's just my opinion. And so to make it a little bit more fun is this week Nebraska landed Iowa's number 1 recruit in the state, offensive tackle Grant Bricks. And unfortunately, we lost our defensive lineman Carlon Jones. He got an offer from Ohio State. He was committed to us since like June. And Ohio State decided to jump in, so he pulled his commitment and decided to reopen his recruiting. Yeah. So that's kind of
the showdown.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The other. No, I had those in final thoughts.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get into our segment of Real Talk. We are going to talk a little bit about education.
And you're like, oh, education, that's boring, bro. No, we're just gonna debunk the education system, okay? Let's just say, first of all, the education system that is now running is the same education system that was starting during the Industrial Revolution, which was to put ourselves into factories.
Yep.
So we can know how to run those machineries.
Have you ever seen how a classroom is laid out?
It's literally a freaking grid.
Yeah, it's a grid.
It's a grid. Oh, that's the wrong note.
So before we get into this conversation,
all right.
I have one question for you. I was trying to think of questions earlier of what to like kind of questions to discuss.
Yeah.
But so we're talking about how like the education system isn't ideal for today's generation.
Mm-hmm.
So my question with that is, what did you learn in high school that you still use today?
Let's see. I gotta.
I know. See, that's.
I mean, equations. Does that count? I don't. There's no specific name for my equations.
I know. That's kind of.
So I mean, like I still use math. I use a little bit of science.
So when you talk about math, do
I
you use basic math, or do you use like algebra and geometry and calculus and
well, sometimes you gotta use trigonometry and geometry to
Ge-
figure out.
geography's the world, bro.
Yeah. Well, you gotta use geometry to figure out geography. Don't you know? But no, I still use trigonometry and a little bit, not like all the stuff. You know, I don't remember all of it. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. You know,
See, but
Pythagorean theorem.
so that leads me to my next question that I had.
Writing skills, I guess.
So that leads me to my next question that I don't have written down, but I thought of last night. So we're talking about classes and everything. So you're in a construction field. So you probably do use that, but do you think you could have learned that when you went to college and didn't necessarily need it in high school?
Well, honestly, the fact that I knew it before going to college just sped things up.
Yeah.
Because then we just got into the math of estimating, and all you had to do was figure out squares and triangles and basic math,
Yeah.
and a little bit of trigonometry to figure out, because you didn't have a proper measurement. You looked at a picture and you had to put pieces together.
Yeah. Well, like I don't know. I had to take physics, and I mean, I think I took physics in high school too, or a little bit of physics in high school. And then you had to take physics for automotive course. And I honestly believe that, like, because, like, honestly, like, some of that stuff, if you, I mean, the point that I'm trying to get at is some of these people don't even use any of that. I mean,
Yeah.
what, like, you go through all these classes in school and then you never use them again. And so what I'm getting at is, like, why are they making you take all these, like, college advanced courses when you're probably never going to use them? I mean, now like you were saying, is if you're like construction, or even like me as a mechanic, when I went into the field, like some of that stuff was nice to know before I went to college, but at the same time, they can teach you all that in your college courses and say, hey, this is why you.
Yeah, but then you don't get the time. Well, I mean, if you go to a trade school,
Yeah.
that is, you don't have time to be on the hands-on stuff. You know.
Yeah.
I guess you can go to regular college and you don't want to have hands-on stuff either.
Yeah. Basically, well, you got anything to say to that? Because I have a statistic I was gonna throw out there.
I forgot what I was gonna say, so I mean, just go on.
So the reason I'm asking all these questions is because back in like the late 1800s, it used to be like high school was optional, and it was mandatory to go to 8th grade and graduate 8th grade, and then after that you had the option of going to high school or not. It wasn't until 1918 when they actually when the US actually decided that it was mandatory to go to high school. Now, there was a little bit of a gray area in there. There's a lot of people, they still, like grandpa's one, for example, that I'm going to use, is he never went to high school. He graduated 8th grade. His dad ended up passing away during his 8th grade year. So he never went to high school. He just automatically graduated 8th grade and just went and start working for the farm. And there were a lot of people that did that. But I don't know when the exact date was when they actually kind of put an end to that, because I know like a lot of kids were dropping out of high school, or parents weren't really necessarily forcing them to go to high school. But yeah, so all I know is 1918 was the year that they forced everyone to, was when the government, or the United States government, decided to step in and say, hey, we are done with just 8th grade. You guys, it's now mandatory to go to high school.
So you're probably wondering why we decided to do this topic. I forgot to do this a little bit before. So our reels, our feed, our Instagram, Facebook, whatever that we use, they've been blowing up with edumacation, like schooling, how the failures of the school system. And so Levi and I were like, dude, it's a sign, we gotta do it, bro. So we did it. That's the backstory. Alright. So your little statistics, here's my little statistics.
Statistics.
The statistics. 90% of the funding for schools are represented from the government and state through taxes. That's where our tax money goes.
And I still don't think teachers get paid near as much as they should.
You are absolutely correct, as it is lower than before the Great Depression. Well, the budget for the schools.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it is lower than than before the Great Depression. So there's your little fun statistic. The statistic. Number 2.
Ooh, he's got real notes over here.
Security. So, as you mentioned in a previous podcast, you were like, yo, the schools need more security, get these military men the guns and go to schools and just go ham on any school shooter. Yes, security is a big issue. This is also publicschoolsreview.org or .com. I got this off of so it's the failures of the school system is what the article is.
So speaking of that, so do you think that like all these school shootings, do you think that falls partially on the school system, or is that parents, or is that like the kid themselves?
Well, if you look at most cases, it's because of like bullying in school, or the teachers not, outing him out because he was stupid, or they were stupid. I shouldn't say he. They were stupid. A little slow. I guess I shouldn't say stupid. A little slow. So I mean, and yes, the parents could be a part of it for not helping them, they came home and not trying to help them understand it, I guess. Unless the parents didn't know either, they're old school. and that could be an issue. Um, I think society. I think it's just society itself. Society is terrible.
Because I was just thinking about like back in like the 80s when kids went to school and
They had guns in the back.
they had
of
the guns in the
truck.
back of the truck. They actually had shooting target practices in the school. People taught gun safety in school.
They would literally go deer hunting and then show up to school. Now you want to go deer hunting, you just use that as vacation days
Yup.
because you just take your sick days as vacation days.
Yup. And it's even crazy because like I don't know. It's like even back in the day. I mean, this might be later on in the discussion, but like even back in the day, like people learned how to do taxes and stuff in school, and a lot of your
Yeah, now we don't learn none of the taxes or anything like stocks. We don't even learn how to do stocks in school.
or they taught like budget plans, or like they taught you how to like buy a house and stuff. I mean, now granted, there are some schools and there are some classes that
like
brief on that stuff, but it's not like they don't go into detail.
I took a business class, and instead of investing money, like doing like a simulation in the stock market, to see if you're successful or not. No, we literally just figured out what like each symbol meant and what each ticker meant and what.
Well, like even back in the day, they taught like retirement plans and how to build a retirement plan.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just crazy because like I took business classes and they kind of briefed you on stuff like that, but they never went into like I learned so much more outside of it. Like I kind of just had
like old people's failures is
like I kind of just had the basics of like, oh yeah, I gotta do this. Oh yep, like oh I'm expecting to do this, and then all of a sudden when you go do it, you're like, the fuck am I doing?
Mm-hmm. So yes, that would be the curriculum that is not helping us actually learn what each individual should learn. So that kind of falls into that category. Also, I want to share a story.
Ooh, story time!
Story time. I don't know how quick it will be. I don't even know if I'll get it told right. I told it earlier today, and I actually did pretty well. I was impressed. But there was a teacher in New York. In New York, I don't know whether it's the city or a different city or a small town. I just know it was in New York. And
did you meet this teacher?
I did not meet this teacher. This teacher was like in the 80s, I think it was.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Maybe, but he had, well, it's whenever politics took over, which I mean politics took over in the 1900s, but they really took over in the 2000s, I guess. So this teacher knew he was going to, if anyone found out, he was going to get fired. Now everyone's like, oh, he had secret relationships. No, it's not that. It was the fact that, he understood that teaching was you needed to have someone, passions. He knew passions.
You had to impact the kid's life somehow.
Yes. So the only homework, the only assignment you had in that class, right? The only homework, the only assignment you had in that class was every day. It was like a study hall, kind of. You went out. You didn't even have to. You just showed up. Be like, hey, I'm going. Or I don't even know if people showed up. But every day you went out and you figured out what your passion was. Okay. You would go out into the city, into the town, into whatever. You would figure out how to build that passion, how to go about that passion. Like someone did what the story I was reading. It was this one kid did it on pool tables because he is like a billiards fan, right? And he learned so much about billiards. I think he won a championship off of that. Okay, and this and so the only assignment that was the only assignment, and the only final thing was you had to write about your experience of finding your passion and what you learned and what like research doing research, getting better at it. And this teacher, because his kids were so successful in his class, won multiple awards. Won multiple awards, bro. And he even like and all the kids that took his class ended up becoming successful than the kids that did not take his class. So, but he did after like 2 years or something. He stepped down after so many years. I don't know how many years it was.
Yeah.
He stepped down because he's like, this is getting risky, and I don't want to get caught. But in that small time, bro, he won awards, bro, and he made students successful, bro.
Yeah.
See, that's the type of learning you need, bro.
Yeah. It's insane of how like if someone see that's like goes back to my question of like what did you learn in high school that you still use today? Like yeah, I was referring to like the curriculum stuff, but there's still a lot of stuff in high school that like teachers or other people had an impact on me, and I'd still remember a lot of those lessons. Mm-hmm. They were more like life lessons, not so much curriculum lessons.
Life lessons. Those are the best lessons. All right.
I'm a champ at Hard Knocks.
You're
It's a Hard Knocks life
for us. Jeez, lines. Jeez. Okay, next on our list is standardized testing.
The dumbest thing ever.
It is the really dumbest thing ever. You know,
I cheated on one of mine.
Did you?
Yeah. Huh. I took the scene out of Wayne's World. Oh, yeah? A standardized writing test. And we had to write about something we wanted, and I wrote it on a stereo, and I took the scene out of Wayne's World of where he stands up against the window and stares at the guitar and goes, "It will be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine." I got sent back from the state. Somebody wrote Wayne ? On it. They forgot World. They just wrote Wayne. It's like, you bastards.
I cheated on the standardized testing too a little bit. I had equations on a bookmark. Is that what they're called? Yeah, I had equations and all sorts of stuff on bookmarks.
If that's why I passed chemistry. Oh, if Solomon's watching this, yes, I cheated in your class.
He knows everyone's. It was using our resources. It's not cheating. It's called using our resources.
You know, mine was the best one.
Oh yeah.
You know how you had those planners?
Yeah.
You had those clear covers.
Yeah.
What you did is you shoved a piece of paper in there with all the chemistry formulas on it. Mm. So all the multiple choice questions and stuff like that was mainly me and fill in the blank questions. I still had to do that. It was the formula part, and I just would sit here and put the formulas down there. And
no, what I would do when I walked in, I knew there was a test, so I would look at the sheets. I would memorize each equation. And once I got the test, at the top of the page, there would be, you know how Solomon would always do the circle and then split it, you know, in pie form for the equations. All my equations were in at the top of the page. As soon as I got the test, that it was my paper was gone. I had all the equations down, and true false, breeze. Equations simple because I had the equations.
That's the sad part too. Going back to like curriculum. All you do is you memorize it, you pass a
Yeah.
test, and then what do you use it for after that?
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's like, "Oh, you ain't supposed to memorize it." Well, school makes you memorize it. You don't learn nothing. You memorize it. But with standardized testing, it is not fun. It is. I mean, like, there are people I know in my life that are just really smart, but when they get a test, they just they can't
I'm
do
the
it.
dumbest person when you put a test in front of me.
Right? Like, I can do the homework, I can do equations, I can do that just fine. Once you throw a test in front of me, it's
You know when you talk about standardized testing, like I think of the movie Blindside, where he can't take the test, so they verbally have to give it to him, and then he passes them until he kind of learns how to write and read and stuff like that. That's I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm that bad, but I'm about on that level.
You're close to it.
I'm probably a little bit higher than where he was in that movie, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's close. It's funny because you can ask me a question, I can sit here and tell you an answer, and then by the time it's like by the time you like have it on a test or something.
Yeah.
It's really weird too.
Yeah. No incest here. I'm sorry that offended some people. I'm sorry.
Come
It's just a
here,
joke.
honey bun.
Okay. Babe. You want me to come there, babe?
Darling.
Babe.
Sweet cheeks.
Babe. So, as you mentioned earlier, the next one. You know what the next one is?
It's the next one.
Parents not getting involved.
It's a very good one.
It is a very good one because, I always try to get mom to help me on homework, but she would always say, "You're too smart," and I never learned none of this, and I had to go figure it out on my own.
Which in all honesty is true.
It's true. Yeah.
I mean, because you look at the curriculum today compared to back then, it was their school was more realistic. I mean, I'm not like they still had. I mean, they probably still had horrible curriculum back then, but
Yeah.
there was a lot more real life scenarios and stuff that because like I said, is they taught taxes and they taught how to build a retirement plan, and they taught things like that in school. So
And you didn't need all the fancy math.
Yep.
But now we got all the fancy math.
Or think about it. How many schools don't have trades anymore?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, we didn't have it. We had to do internships.
We have trades now.
Well, now, but
Yeah.
Toby Hoffman's class was the last class to go through Hebron that actually had trades and stuff, and then they all cut it out of their budget.
Well, last I knew, we had construction. Well, I went through construction. When I was in school, we had small engines. Woodwork.
Yeah, that's because all of us singers bitched and moaned about it, and other people bitched and moaned, and finally the school board.
It's like, oh, well, we need to.
The school board magically listened.
Yeah, about time. And last but not least is outdated teaching manners. Outdated teaching manners. Yeah, I forgot to write anything next to it to help me understand what it was.
Google.
I'm assuming outdated teaching manners is like classroom setup.
Oh, yeah.
And where instead of getting involved, you listen to a teacher lecture. But the more you get involved, the more you learn. The less you have to memorize because the more you're learning.
Well, see now, like, okay, so this is just outdated teaching methods. This website is, but
punishment,
discipline. Think about it. Back in the day, teachers could lay hands on you.
Yeah, they could take a ruler and whack you.
Mom, I still remember the story Mom told us about her class. One kid pissed the teacher off so much the teacher picked up the desk and threw the kid and the desk into the whiteboard or chalkboard.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Some of these kids need that. Cell phones in classes.
Yes, that can be a distraction, especially when you're a teenager and you got the hormones flowing through your body and you have very, very well sexual desires. Yes, that is very distracting.
Yeah, that's not on here, but that was just one thing.
That you just thought of. Have you scrolled all the way down? It might be.
No. It goes lectures first.
Yeah, lectures are stupid. Bro, I had a 3-hour class in college where the teacher would literally just lecture the whole time for 3 hours. I'm like, how can you lecture for 3 hours? Like, and there's a night class too. And so I was mad. I was about to drop out of that class. Well, guess what? Funny story is, I stayed disciplined to that class, and everybody in the class basically did not show up. I was the only one that would show up. The teacher would give me a 10-minute lecture and be like, you can read the rest. I'd be home. 10 minutes. A 3-hour class in 10 minutes. Stay committed, bro. Stay committed.
I love this guy's fix to this. So this article here, it's called Alice, the website is alicekeeler.com. So what the guy does is he talks about like the problem with it, and then he offers kind of like his way of solving it, or her way. Alice, I would assume that would be a she.
I don't know, Alice in Chains,
That's a band dummy.
You never know.
Oh, I always wondered.
Crazy, bro.
It was. So his way is actually like get the students like engaged or start to think. Their way is they have a 5E method. It's called engage, explore, explain, extend, and evaluate.
That's a lot of E's.
Yeah.
Paper and pencil assignments.
Yep,
Yes, turn
that's
off
number
the
3.
laptops every once in a while. Get that old pen and paper out. Get your hand cramps going, you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, that's another outdated.
Get so mad you break your pencil in the hand because you're writing so much. You know what I'm saying? You never had that happen to you?
The one size fits all method.
What are we talking about here for?
So the one size fits all method is the
Oh, is it
It's the you learn the same way that I learn,
yeah,
and
there's is it called something different for the
it's
government?
yeah, but
Oh, no one left behind.
oh yeah.
No kid left behind or whatever.
See, so I have a problem with that system.
Everyone learns differently.
Well, it's not so much the no kids left behind thing, but to me, so I was talking to a teacher the other day, and well, a former teacher, I should say, and he no longer teaches because he kind of got tired of the system and wanted something else, like the passion, the passion to teach was not there anymore because of all your rules and regulations. But if a kid is failing,
Hmm.
you have to pass him no matter what because of the no kids left behind policy. So you could literally go to school, screw off all day, not care, get an F, and still graduate because of no kids left behind.
That's stupid.
That's like handing out participation trophies.
That's also stupid. I don't want no participation trophies. I want the gold, bro.
I know, like you gotta like. I understand what they're trying to do, and I also appreciate the fact that they are trying to look out for people and try to make it more equal across the board. But at the same time, is you don't learn anything. You don't like there's no value on it. There's like if you go and you lose a game, what are you? More than likely you're pissed off and you're gonna go work 10 times harder because you don't want to do that. Like you don't want to lose again because you don't like that feeling. Or if you fail a test, right? You fail a test, it leaves this awful gut feeling.
Oh, I don't care. If I failed a test, I failed a test.
But you get what I'm saying because
Yeah.
it's like you just kind of like it kind of changes your whole entire mood because then you're like dang, I didn't do good. I need to do better. So what are you gonna go do? You're gonna go study harder. You're gonna go
Mm. You're gonna get educated.
yeah. What was it? Failure or what was it? Oh, fail means first attempt in learning.
Yeah.
There
First
we go.
attempt in learning.
There we go. That's what it was. I had to think about that. Number 5 is purpose is content knowledge.
Now he's reading.
I know.
This
I
is
was
scary,
trying
guys.
to figure out what he meant by this.
This is scary, guys.
This is
Purpose is content knowledge. Um, I don't know.
So it says while it is important for students to acquire knowledge and skills in a particular subject area, it is equally important for them to develop critical thinking, problem solving, and communication skills. Teachers should strive to create lessons that foster these skills in addition to imparting content knowledge.
All right, cool.
So that's just basically saying is going back to your curriculum. It's like it's like a repetitive.
Repetition.
Yeah.
Repetition.
It's like repetitive. Grades as motivators.
I didn't care if I had bad grades or not. Actually, I did because I was in sports. So, I had to keep that C. They keep that solid C. But I was an A and B student. So,
Going back is, I mean, we kind of already touched on that topic. That was
yeah.
the like trying to motivate kids to do better.
Strict seating charts, always hated it. I mean, it's good for, not being around all your friends the whole time, but it also sucks when you're around, like, I don't know, someone that wants to cheat off of you or someone that just smells terrible.
So I was really
Take a
smart.
shower, bro. You stink.
I was really smart when we always, before like we lose our seating,
Yeah.
because like they would always tell us, "Oh yeah, sit wherever," and then all of a sudden there's always that one person that would always screw it up. But see, I was always smart before they made seating arrangements. I would sit next to the two smartest people. So then if I did not know an answer, I could cheat off of them.
One time, okay, I was sitting by the smartest person I know, in my class, and we were doing a chemistry test, and I honestly, I forgot how to do it, equationally. And I looked over, I saw his test, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh yeah, I understand it now, and I caught his mistake. I literally told him, I'm like, hey, you need to fix that. And he looks at me, and I'm like, just fix it. Just don't even ask questions, just fix it.
You know the worst part is? When you sit next to the two smartest people in your class, one has one answer, the other one has another answer, and then you're sitting here going, who's right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was why if someone picked A and the other one picked C, I knew it was either B or D. Because then it didn't look like I was cheating.
Yeah. No lie. That's no lie.
Unless, of course, I actually like knew the answer, and then it'd be a different story. But
yeah,
if you're gonna cheat, be smart about it. I'm not advising you, anybody out there, to cheat.
Use your resources.
But
you cannot get in trouble if you use your resources.
But if you so happen to attempt it, be smart about it. Because a lot of people, they're not, and that's how they get caught.
Yeah. Like, I did a whole periodic table quiz test, whatever, with having the periodic table on top of something. I know I know it was in Solomon's class. I know Solomon was probably looking at me, but I literally had it on the floor facing up, and all I was doing was just kept looking down at the floor. I know he looked at me because I looked at him while he was looking at me. I looked down at the floor and kept doing it.
This is so number 8. This is actually a good one. Punishing failure. So a lot of times is the teachers will punish the student for failing, but the teacher needs to take it upon themselves as a failure too, because they failed that student.
Yeah, they failed teaching that student.
Yeah. That's you. Thank you for
Boom.
clarifying where I was. Thank you for clarifying where I was going.
You're welcome, big bro. You're welcome. Anytime, big bro.
Okay.
Anytime.
Technology is a choice.
Back to the pencil and paper. Get that pencil in your hand, get the hand cramps going, and break it in your hand,
So this is
It's saying that.
So this is basically saying that
you don't have to use laptops and computers as every assignment because some kids at home aren't lucky enough to have Wi-Fi.
Well, not that, but it's talking about how, like, more of like AI type stuff.
Oh.
Because where teachers now, they did just pull a PowerPoint off of something and they do it.
Or they ask GPT.
Yeah, and it's basically they don't
Give
they
me
just
prompts.
it's more of like they don't actually take they rely on the technology to teach the kids and not so much teach the kids themselves.
Yeah.
And last but not least,
Levi's slow and has a password on his
I
phone.
know, traditional textbooks. So
What is it? What is it, Levi? Let's see. Traditional textbooks.
so this is basically saying that as although textbooks are really useful, like very useful in resources, they are not always currently up to date or very engaging for the kids.
Yeah, that goes back to what you always used to tell me about how old people, if you look at their history book and you look at a newer history book, some events change because it's on a different perspective of view, point of view. A lot of things come from a different point of view. I think in a textbook there should be all point of views. You know?
See, the problem nowadays is I mean, I don't want to get into like a political side of things here, but a lot of it is like you kind of have your left and your right groups now.
Yeah, that is worse than ever.
And your left has a tendency of
Lying.
trying to change history because they don't believe it's right or fair or whatever their theory is, but at the same time, so they're trying to erase history to make a more perfect world.
Even though you should learn from your mistakes and grow from it.
Exactly.
Live in the past.
A world without a country without history. How does that say?
I don't know. It's kind of funny, because the left wants you to live in the past, right?
Yeah.
Like they bring up the racist stuff to push black people to vote for them and diss the right wing. I don't know an example, but you just listen closely to their words, and it will.
Hey, the best one, President Biden. This last presidential campaign, he said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
I guess that one works. I mean, I was gonna. Well, they learn how to aggravate the African American culture into thinking that all whites are racist, and they're also the same people that are trying to destroy the past because we shouldn't be living in the past.
So, like, and I'm not saying the right is any better because
no, they're both corrupt.
They're both corrupt, but it just seems like it always seems like when you talk about it that the left is always willing to try to degrade history somehow or bring history back into things to start more problems or push their agenda, which isn't right. And that is why like, one, don't believe everything you read online. Also, because there are a lot of false things out there, but also I believe a lot of these textbooks in school are not telling you the full truth either. I believe they're leaving.
Yeah.
So
they're definitely covering up some stuff.
So to me is we need to use like we kind of need a little bit of like modernization, but yet some of the older older textbooks and resources that are probably not as corrupt. I don't know if that's the word I want to use there, but
it should be the society's issues and not the politic issues.
Yeah.
That's how we should have our schools.
Yeah.
So, Levi, on everything that we just talked about, how would you, if you were the head of the educational council or administration or whatever they're called, how would you build an educational system that would fit into America's or in the world, I guess?
Well, one, I would focus more on like trades.
Yeah, because
Like-
trades are dying.
Like, I mean, I understand we need everybody out there to make the world go round, and there's a lot of it, but honestly, like the trade jobs are like the backbone of America.
Blue collars.
Yup. And so, and they don't get a lot of recognition. And the other thing is too is like they don't really make much, I should say. So like
You ain't lying. Bro, I could go on TikTok and make more than what I'm working, working in construction,
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is like you need to so to me is I would kind of focus more on like the trade sides of it and go that route, because then I mean, if you want to grow up and be an engineer, go right ahead and grow up and be an engineer. Like I'm not going to. Or if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something, I'm not stopping.
Wow, you don't want them to be cowboys?
I always want them to be cowboys.
Trying to make a song reference, bro.
I know.
Yeah,
Mamas
yeah.
don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.
Yeah.
Good old Willie Nelson and
Waylon Jennings, is it?
yeah, I think it is Willie and Waylon. Yep, I think it is them.
Yeah.
But yeah, nope. So, like, if you want that job, that's perfectly fine. But that's where I would start. The other thing I would do is probably not focus so much on. I would probably give options to, so like going back to like how I went into the mechanic field and like how you went into construction, like I would have a like a counselor at your school that sits down with you and kind of like say, hey, where do you want to, like, where do you kind of want to go in
life?
Yeah, like
In
what
life?
like what career do you want to pursue? And then so basically all the way up to 8th grade, right?
Well, I had that, okay? The counselor would be like, what do you want to do? And it's like, I don't know, dude. I'm just too young and I don't know nothing about anything because no one has showed me, other than me just sitting in school with a pencil in my hand. I don't know nothing else, Like,
Yeah.
what do you, like, what the, you want me to do?
Well, and that's why I say is go back to the trades thing, because then at least those kids that don't know what they want to do, you kind of put them more in that trades category to try finding what they want. But so what you do is you make the curriculum like it was back in the day, where you learn everything you need to know by the 8th grade, right? And then by that point, and then after you get into high school, you start focusing on like your okay, so these guys are going to go out into the real world. What classes can we offer these guys to help them in the real world, like budgeting or finances or like
Okay, Levi. Okay, Levi. Yeah, okay, Levi.
so then
And then what about college? What about college,
so
Levi?
college would
Because,
be
we did this so college could make money, because colleges were making money.
so you do is then college is college is one, you rebrush up on this, but two, you stay focused on whatever field you go into. So if you want to be a doctor, then you become a doctor, but you also have so you take your mandatory classes that are going to help you be a better doctor, and you also have like classes that also help you prepare for real life so you don't forget what you learned in high school.
Mm.
Or like if you want to go to a trade school, that's fine, you go to a trade school. I mean, but those so basically what high school is high school is preparing you for life outside of the world, and then college prepares you for your actual job.
Okay. You want to know mine, Levi? You want to know mine?
Shoot, buddy.
So, cram all the high school curriculum and all that. Push that back into 8th grade, okay? 8th grade graduation, you're doing good. You got it. All the way up to 8th grade. You got all the calculus, you got all that stupid bull crap that you need to know. And up to 8th grade, right? Now, hear me out. You still got 4 more years. You ain't done. You ain't going to graduate yet. You ain't done. Okay? This is where, the teacher from New York was, you got to go out. You got to find your passion. You got to do your research. You got to do all that. That is what high school is for. You can get an internship, work for people, whatever that is, But you gotta, you gotta write about it because writing is one of the most powerful things. Everyone has to write, right? Everyone has to write. Okay, it's a powerful tool. Don't blame your English teacher for making you write an essay. Okay, it's a powerful tool. So you just gotta write. You gotta do like your own research and everything. So you're focusing on your passions. Yes, you can also take classes in the real world. That should be more mandatory, obviously. But that's your high school, okay? Now you can go to college if you want. You gotta let the college make some money somehow, and that's your secondary. That's when they're like all this information that you went and did research on. That's when they fine tune it into you and you
It's
become.
kind of what I just said.
I know it's kind of what you just said. I know it is a little bit different,
Yeah, it's a little bit different take, but yeah, basically.
But it's exactly pretty much what you said.
It's like your high school prepares you for real life, and college prepares you for your job. Is kind of how I would.
Well, I was.
But I mean, now
prepares you for your real life and job, and college just prepares you for job while you're living in an apartment, living the real life.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, we have the same idea. It's just a different take on the same idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, 8th graders should be learning calculus and physics, and I said it. I
don't know if they really need to learn that, but sure.
I mean, why not? You know what? Why not? Okay, you're cramming it in. The more they know, the more they're gonna learn. Okay, the more. So what you're doing is you're giving them the opportunity that when they hit their high school career, they have a little bit more of like what their purpose is gonna be, right? Like an idea, so that they once that they have that freshman year, they're out there, they're researching, they're doing what they want. They can trial and error for 4 years. For 4 years, trial and error. until they figure out exactly what they want. Well, guess what? You got a lot more knowledge in 4 years than what we ever had in 4 years.
So let's put it this way: is what happens if you just do your freshman year as the experimental year, and then you say your sophomore, junior, and senior year, you start putting them in more curriculum classes based off of what occupation they want to go into.
You could also do that if they know which path they want to go. But it's, if you don't know, you're like, hey, I want to be a mechanic, and so you start entering, researching, and then you're like, by sophomore year, you're like, I just don't like this anymore. It's like
So if you
I
don't
love
like
it as
it,
a hobby,
see that's and
but
that's where
I'm not passionate for it.
and that's where college would come into play, because if you don't want to get, like, by the time you're done with that, you would technically have all the curriculum to be a mechanic, but then say your senior year you want to go, say, into like radio broadcasting. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, so then college, you go to college for radio broadcasting and learn.
I would do it. They'd have to stick with it for a semester. Okay, that gives them 8 different times they can trial and error. Okay.
But you get what I'm saying, though. It's like then the deal is by your senior year, if you're like, oh, I'm not a big fan of this, and you want to go do something else, that is where college comes into play, because then you can say, hey, I'll go to college, and then college focuses more like the fine details on.
And then that would solve the issues of college dropouts. That would solve the issues of people not deciding and spending more on college, switching careers. And I mean, the colleges are probably happy, but people aren't. Okay, it's expensive now. Okay, so it gives the students, the opportunity to learn and have actually something that they're gonna stick to in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts, Levi, as we come to a close?
So I have a couple final thoughts, and then I have a few upcoming events. So my first final thought is, so with this time of year, is lately we've noticed a lot of house fires in our town.
Yes.
Area in our area. So one thing is, like,
I mean it's normal. About 5 on average is about the wintertime era. So it's normal.
yeah, but I'm just saying is, like, just be cautious. Like, if you do have a wood burning stove or like an electric heater or something,
or you smell smoke, go check it out.
Yeah. Just be really cautious around this time of year, because I understand that accidents do happen, but some accidents, I should put it that way. Some to majority of accidents can be prevented. So just like I said, is with all that going on with a lot of house fires in our area right now, just be cautious and be careful and make sure you're doing the right thing to prevent that. And then my second one is, during harvest, we found in some crops tar spot, which tar spot is a disease in corn that affects and damages the upper and lower leaf surfaces of the plant.
Is it bad for our bodies? You did little research on this, huh?
I know. We were talking about this earlier today, so I just kind of threw it in last minute. So So it produces a toxin that helps the pathogen trick plant defense responses or kills plant diseases. This does not mean that the toxin has an effect on humans, cattle, swine, etc.
So it's safe.
But it's damaging to corn. It is very, very popular known in Iowa and Illinois. We have not really seen it yet in the state of Nebraska.
Is it just because it's been a really dry year?
Yeah, it's really dry weather and what's the other one? Heat. Heat's the other one that really causes it. But yeah, no, so this is something new that a lot of farmers out there, I'm just saying, is beware of. If you want to know more or a way to prevent this in your fields, call your local Aurora co-op and we'd be help.
Hello?
Hello.
I got a tar spot on my dick.
I'll be right over to look it off.
Good deal. I like that. I like that service. Is it speedy quick? Only if you want it.
It's sloppy too.
Roger, rubber ducky out.
So yeah, call your local Aurora co-op and talk to them about how to.
What if I don't?
What if you don't? Well, then you can call another agronomist. But I work for Aurora Co-op, so I had to throw that out there. But if you want to know more, talk to your local agronomist. Hold on, talk to your local agronomist about it.
You could have just hit the power button and it wouldn't have declined the call right away.
I know who it was though.
Oh.
So the other thing is upcoming events is Santa will be at Pioneers Inn or the Town Hall on December 9th from 11 to 12.
And you forgot something else. December 10th, Pioneers Inn are at the hall. They're having a pancake feed.
I was getting there, you dumb tard.
Well, I didn't see it on your paper, so...
Yeah, because...
You're like me. You write notes on your phone. You write notes. I
have a lot of notes like in here that I just kind of. So yeah. So if you want to go see Santa, there will be a mule. Mule covered wagon rides?
Something like
going
that.
on. And then we'll be providing a meal. And everything is free will donation, so bring your kids out for loads of fun with Santa.
And come back the next day
for pancakes.
Yeah.
And a auction.
There's an auction? I didn't know there's an auction.
Yeah, I think there's an auction.
Oh. I hope Mom's not expecting me to help because I plan on being at the bar. Pioneers Inn, the actual Pioneers Inn.
Yeah.
Putting down floor tile, okay?
Okay. So.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we're on the same page.
So, you got any final thoughts? Because that was my final thoughts and upcoming events.
Well, my final thoughts are what your thoughts are on the educational system. You know? So, yeah. Anyway. Peace, love, happiness, and unity. Can I get an oh yeah?
Oh yeah?
Okay, now we out this. We out of here. You gonna do anything?
No.
No? Okay. No, rock on.
You already did it. What's the point?
Oh, well, I'm gonna do my little handshake. You got that?
Fine. Rock on.
Yeah. Peace out.